Hello, good afternoon, everybody, and welcome to Adobe Live from the sofa here in the UK. From every day we're here from 12 till 1, and it's me, Tony Harmer, today, your host. Now, just before we start and meet our guest, along with a lot of other organisations and channels, yesterday we went offline. We showed our support for Blackout Tuesday, and while we'll continue to kind of acknowledge that situation, let's get back today to celebrating our creativity here as a community. If you need anything, there are links that Tim can post into the channel chat for us. And on that note, that's where all the action takes place. If you're watching on YouTube, that's fine, but do watch on Behance, so behance.net/live. And that way you can get involved in the chat with our community. So today we are joined by Thomas Burden. Hello, Thomas. How are you doing?
No, I'm good. Yeah, thanks for having me on.
Fantastic.
Like you said,
very welcome. Very welcome. Lovely.
Quite self-indulgent talking about myself today after everything that's happening. But like you said, it's just balancing that. Well, balancing normal life, whatever that is nowadays, with everything else that's going on.
True.
Yeah.
True. So, well, for those of the community here that don't know you, Thomas, do you want to tell us just a little bit about yourself and your work and what you do, just a bit before we start?
Yeah, well, I'm a 3D illustrator. I'm based in Chichester, on the south coast of the UK. Mm-hmm. I graduated way back in the before times, 2007. I kind of worked through a few illustration agencies. I always do like digital illustration, then started doing 3D in about 2012, and I've been freelance since 2013, doing just specialising in 3D illustration. I'd say I've been pretty busy on for all kinds of clients, big and small, for the past kind of 5-6 years, up until now, actually, really, until the world has stopped. And I'm finally kind of getting a chance to get back into some personal work and things, which has been quite good.
That's good.
Yeah, my style is kind of like the antithesis of the world right now, really. It's quite fun and bright, which again seems weird talking about it today. But yeah, it's kind of quite childlike and inspired by, I always say it's inspired by all the toys I was never allowed growing up, basically.
Well, I must say, I love the colour and the energy inside of your work. And if you want to take a look at Thomas's Behance, you can. I like the handle, by the way, you have on Behance. Thomas, you can find him at behance.net /grownup, which is a great handle. And the agency you're with, I think, is Handsome Frank, isn't it? Is it there?
Yeah, that's my UK and US agent. And then Jackie Winter, my Australian agent, and then Analog Digital, my European agent. So I've got like three agents across the world. Yeah. Yeah, so that's always, super helpful, being freelance, just knowing that you have agents out there all the time, especially when things get busy. I've never had time to actually go out and look for work myself, really.
That's it's that trade-off, isn't it, as an illustrator, where you accept you're going to give away sort of a slice of the pie, as it were, but the obligation to go out and search for stuff is removed from you. So it's that balancing act, isn't it, for doing that? Yeah,
exactly. And also it's just sorry,
no, that's okay. Well, what are you showing us today then, Thomas? What are we going to enjoy looking at today? I'm sure.
Well, I thought the thing is, because I specialise in cinema 4D, my actual kind of illustrating Photoshop skills have just got progressively worse and worse over the years. I've used it less. But digging out old work for this chat today, I was just going through all my earlier work as well. So I think we'll just kind of go through my progression of where I started out using a lot more Illustrator and Photoshop, and kind of working through it up until my work today. I think it's quite apparent. It's quite interesting for me to go back through my old work as well. and just see how, you know, learning kind of to get a grip with the really basic 3D stuff in Illustrator actually then led on to me wanting to get into 3D, kind of proper 3D programs.
Okay, cool.
So I thought we'd just kind of go have a run through today, and then after that we can, you know, talk through my kind of process. So obviously I still use Illustrator and Photoshop at the beginning and end of all of my work, so pretty much all my sketching is done in Illustrator, mainly because I can't draw to save my life anymore. So I always just use like Illustrator, especially with type work. And then obviously all my compositing after I've rendered everything is done in Photoshop, or After Effects as well, if I'm animating. So yeah, I thought we'd just start off.
Okay, well, just while you do that, let me just say hello to a few of the people in the community here. I noticed we've got Steve. I think Steve is our Kiwi friend, I think, who comes across to us from New Zealand, and is here every day joining us. We've got Kirsty. Hello, Kirsty. Catherine, also regular visitor. We've got Robert. We've got Sandrine. Hi, Sandrine. We have James. Many more. So great. Welcome, everybody. And don't forget to put your questions for Thomas in the chat, and then I can deliver them to him. So perfect. Okay, Take it away, Thomas.
Yeah, looking forward to hearing any questions as well, rather than just hearing my own voice kind of rambling on. But yeah, we'll just kind of start through when I first graduated. It was back in 2007. So, I mean, I didn't really know any 3D programs. In fact, when I actually graduated in art college, I couldn't use any computer programs whatsoever. So I don't quite know how I managed to get my first job. I think I could still draw back then when I left art college, actually. I studied graphic design. So I pretty much learned like Illustrator, Photoshop, and After Effects just on the job as soon as I graduated, just by sitting next to people, really. So when I graduated, I first started working with this company called McFall, which is luckily in my hometown. And so this was like some early work I did for them. Just that's kind of standard vector. This kind of screams 2008 to me, this style of like flat vector work back then. And then it's mainly just, oh, now my computer's decided to massively, so there we go. I don't know what's up with that. And then as I kind of learned more and more in Illustrator, so this was actually a cover for Digital Arts magazine. And so this was all done in Illustrator, all the shading and everything. And looking at this stuff now, having really not got this technical in Illustrator for about probably 8 to 10 years, I can't actually tell you how I did this. I'm looking at it thinking, how did I do that in Illustrator? But yeah, apparently I did at some point, which I can show you some actual old Illustrator files of some of this old work as well in a bit, and we can kind of go through it together. And I can also work out how I did it, because I can't remember at the moment.
Yeah. I mean, if you fancy an exploration, that's fabulous.
Yeah. So this stuff was all, like I said, it's kind of the early beginnings of my style. When I first started working at agency, it was kind of, I think it's always hard because I studied graphic design rather than illustration at art college, but it was kind of, so I never really had my own style, because I immediately then got like a job in the illustration world for an illustration studio. So, and I was doing kinds of all different jobs, different projects, like jumping from style to style, basically, because I was in an illustration studio rather than an illustrator in my own right. So it just took me a really long time to develop my own style, pretty much. So these were kind of like all the early examples of kind of where I was kind of building up where I wanted to go with my style, really. So this was an old piece for, I think, a TV festival. It was like like the coverage of a music festivals. It's like a TV show for that. I think that's what I can remember, because this is like 10 years old to me. But this is all done in Illustrator and a little bit of Photoshop, I think, Just a little bit of the shading is done in Photoshop. The rest is all done in Illustrator.
Well, the colour's going down very well with the chat. The people are enjoying the colour, and also in your remark about not being able to draw, quite a few people I think would like to not be able to draw at the level you can't draw. So,
it's just pressing buttons on a computer. There's no. Well, just knowing which buttons to press and picking some nice colours. It's that easy, and also practice. Like a lot of practice. I spent like so much time, especially like in 3D as well, just working 24/7 pretty much for about 5 years to learn everything. Well, I still did up until like my wife and I had a daughter, and then that stopped. babies really impact the productivity massively. But yeah, this is an old piece of The Guardian actually. I think this is probably like after the financial crash in 2008 or 2009, like the studio I was working for went bust. So I think this was my first ever like commission as an illustrator in my own right. So this was kind of before I started doing proper 3D. But again, this is all done in Illustrator with a little bit of Photoshop. And this is, I can show you this one in Illustrator actually. This is the file we can go through.
So is there some perspective grid use in there as well to establish those planes, or?
Yeah, it's basically all. There we go. Sorry, my computer.
That's all right. Don't worry. The machine's doing all sorts of things. You're talking to us. It's talking to us. So it's all good.
Yeah, and this is an ancient Mac. Wow, it's a trash bin Mac I use basically. But I can hear it really puffing away because it's a fairly hot day as well. And this thing's like having a heater in my studio anyway. But yeah, so this is that piece in Illustrator. So this is all vector, all the shading, everything. And then we pan over. I've just brought the final JPEG into Illustrator as well. So you can see the difference between this is how it looks in Illustrator, and then in Photoshop, I basically did a bit of color grading and a little bit of extra shading really. Yeah, so all of this would have been done with just with the 3D tools in Illustrator, and then I would have set up. This would probably be.
Oh wow! So they're actually mapped on things like the flying saucer. Is that like
yeah?
Wow.
So these are like flat graphics I've created and turned them into not symbols, but I just think I've got even a technical term for it now. I'm even a bit lost in Illustrator, but yeah. It's like when you save it as basically a movie clip and you add it to so let's try it. Let's just draw a cube here, and then and 3D and extrude the bevel. This is how I would create everything like this, or either the revolve tool as well. So this little like light here would have been done with like a half a honeycomb shape with the revolve 3D tool.
Yep.
And then shaded. And so this one here, if we turn the preview on, I would have gone to map art here. And these would have been all the symbols. Yeah, I've created. So you can just kind of add stuff on here.
Nice.
Things like that. That's how I would have done it. It's all coming back to me now. Yeah, so this little arm here would have gone on the on here, on the satellite dish. Stuff like that. So that's also, this was just really good practice for me as far as learning, kind of getting to think in 3D before I started in Cinema 4D. It was this kind of, this really good training I found, just thinking kind of naturally in 3D and how you go about building stuff rather than just drawing straight off. Again, this just gave me a lot more flexibility.
Yeah.
In that I could suddenly, you can create, say, I don't know if this is still editable, but you can create something in 3D. Yeah, see, so this is still editable. So you can play around rather than just kind of having to sketch in 3D and draw it exactly as it is. You can still have the kind of editability and flexibility that you could create something like this, but then turn it around in any angle. Within Illustrator, it was kind of magic to me back then. A really great training for 3D.
So Eudalia is asking, have any of your illustrations ever been printed in 3D?
No, I've never done actually use any kind of 3D printing anything. No, I think, oh, there might have been, I think I did once, if we go on my website, did a, it was a big campaign I did for a cockroach bait in New York.
Could you just run that by me again? A cockroach boat?
Cockroach bait.
Cockroach bait.
Yeah. It's these for SC Johnson. Raid cockroach baits. And it was quite a fun, a fun project to get. It was with BBDO in Chicago. So the concept was, death has never been more delicious, about like traps for cockroaches. And you can see just about what they look like on the box there. It was imagining them as restaurants where cockroaches go to die, basically. So these were actually 3D printed as well. So that's the only job I've ever done.
Okay. But still 3D printed. So yeah.
Yeah, but that's it. Other than that, I haven't really messed about with it much. It's still, I don't know. Again, that job as well, because that was like 5 years ago I did that. But at the time, that was such a hassle to basically merge that 3D model into one shape, have it 3D printed. It took forever, whereas in Cinema 4D nowadays, they've got all the the volume measure and volume builder tools, which you can just do it instantly, and it makes it so much quicker. So, but there's something I haven't really played around with. Also, just because I always see my work first and foremost as images, more than anything else, really. Although that has just actually reminded me of a project I've done recently, actually this year, which was the first project where I actually was commissioned to do a sculpture or an actual real life piece. But that wasn't 3D printed, it was actually made by a studio for that. I haven't seen the photos of it because it's still in production at the moment.
Cool.
But that was basically a beehive contraption for a place. It's like a complex in Covent Garden in London.
Oh wow!
But that's not finished at the moment, so there's nothing to show.
But something to look out for, is it? So
yeah, I will be putting that on my website and on my social media and stuff when the world reopens, and that can be actually shown. But yeah, so where are we anyway? We're chugging through my old kind of work as well. So these are all. This was like an old favorite,
oh wow, I love that.
Back in the day. So this was all Illustrator and just pretty much. I think I just did color grading in Photoshop on these again, but it's the same way, just using kind of setting up graphic symbols and stuff and mapping them onto their 3D extrude and revolve tools in Illustrator. So, I mean, this again was kind of defining my early style of work, and also it's always nice to go and look back over this stuff as well and be like, oh yeah, if I just 3D that now, it's kind of actually built this in 3D, it would look really nice as well. And I'm always kind of looking over old work just to try and keep kind of an essence of my own style about stuff, because I find that you get really distracted. There's so many possibilities. Sorry, in like Cinema 4D and 3D, like to get kind of distracted and seduced by the technology and creating stuff that looks really cool. And wow, just because it's like instantly really impressive because it's in 3D, rather than kind of keeping to your own style, really.
Yeah, no, I think a lot of people get that. So you're getting quite a lot of good comments here, Thomas. by the way, in
No,
that, yeah, people are loving, they were loving that, the letter forms there. The colors people are loving. Really impressive. Blimey, you got a blimey. That's the first blimey I've seen, I think, on here. So there you go. Amazing font. Yeah, but Jackie is saying put that in font self. Do you know, I think that might be a bit of a stretch for a color font, that particular one, Jackie, but you never know. But it may work. In fact, Rufus thinks it might work as well, so that'd be cool. Stuart is asking, what do you think about Blender? Have you ever used Blender? So that's the open source 3D tool.
Yeah, I've never used it, but it's it does look, you know, especially the past couple of years, it does look really, really impressive. Like some of the stuff, especially I think it seems to be better for like kind of for creating like smoke and fire effects. It seems to be able to do that in itself. It doesn't require any plugins and stuff. That's the only thing I've seen that like seems to be better than Cinema 4D. But I think the main thing is that it's free, so a lot of people are using it.
Yeah.
But that's, so I mean, it looks really great. I've never used it myself, never really looked into it. But I think, especially the fact that it's free, I think those skills are going to be transferable if you do want to start, you know, using Cinema 4D as well. It's a great one to start learning in, because it just gets you thinking about how you solve certain problems, even if it's, you know, you don't have to learn Cinema 4D or Houdini, which everyone's learning these days as well.
Yeah.
Although that takes quite a bit longer.
Yeah. It might be worth actually me just reminding people in the chat that if they have Creative Cloud Complete, so if you have the all apps plan for Creative Cloud, you do actually have access to Cinema 4D Lite, which is a shortened version of Cinema 4D. It will only run if After Effects is running at the same time, but you can go ahead and try your hand at making some of the things. It will take you a while to get to Thomas's level, right? But everybody has to start somewhere. As they say, every journey starts with a single step, and maybe you could get in, and who knows, in the future, you could be making great stuff like Thomas is here. Anyway, there you go.
No, I totally, like, I learned everything. I'm completely self-taught in 3D as well from online tutorials. So I, you know, especially these days, there's so much more like online for like learning resources for Cinema 4D and all 3D stuff and all programs really.
Yeah, Cineversity is theirs, isn't it? Cineversity for Cinema 4D.
Yeah, yeah, and Grayscale Gorilla, and also just loads of people on YouTube which are sharing stuff as well. It's really, really great. That's where I've been learning loads recently, and that's where, you know, I learned everything as well originally.
Cool.
But yeah, it's just practice. I mean, 3D is like, it's a big step up from learning kind of 2D stuff. But once you get to a certain point, you know, it's like learning anything really. It's a headache to start with, but once you get to a certain level of proficiency, then it just becomes fun, and it's fun to learn more as well. So
yeah. Just getting over those initial hurdles, understanding space and understanding the difference between cameras and objects, and then yeah,
exactly.
Anyway, sorry, I've distracted from your journey, so let's carry on.
No. Like I said, yeah, it still feels weird just talking about myself a bit. But yeah, so this is, you know, I can go from, you know, this, you can see the development from this here in Illustrator. Like, this was the first ever project I did in Cinema 4D, which is a random one for a hip hop puppeteering collective from Vancouver.
No way.
Yeah. Kind of the first one where I kind of really kind of thought like, oh, right, this is my style, this is what I want to do. And looking back now, this is all really, really simple, like super simple. But it's, again, you can see how I basically used the same thinking as I was in my old kind of Illustrator 3D days to using Cinema 4D instead. It looks very similar to me and stuff. But they basically they kind of do like music festival stuff for like festival performers, and they wanted just a crazy like album cover and some like promotional artwork. And so this is all for the album, and this is for their website as well. So this was the first time I finally did a project in Cinema 4D after like learning it for, I think it was about 2 years of like learning before I actually did the project finally in Cinema 4D. And then this was another early one. This is for there's an exhibition they have every year called Secret 7, which is in London, and basically loads of bands kind of re-release their singles or allow their music to be used for it, and they produce like 7-inch singles for the exhibition. It's pretty much open to anyone to do it, and it raises money for charity. So you just you choose what record you want to redesign a record cover for. So this is for a Florence and the Machine track, I think, called If Only for a Night. So you could just basically do whatever you wanted.
I love the palette with that.
No, thank you. Yeah, again, this was very much using the exact same thought process that I would use in Illustrator. Basically, and so I create all the labels and everything in Illustrator, and then map them around the shapes in Cinema 4D. This one, and then this was one of my first early ones. I did this actually when I worked briefly at a studio called I Love Dust as well.
Right.
And this was they basically, I had a bit of free time now. Like, I'll just do a piece whatever you want. I'm not sure, it might have been a pitch or something actually as well. Again, this is quite a while ago. I think it was a pitch. I think this was going to say integration. I think that's what it was for. Okay. Yeah, so this was kind of defining my early style as well, which is also one of the main reasons I left Isle of Dust as well. Just that kind of I was developing my own personal style, and it just wasn't really in keeping with the studio style as well. So
right,
I kind of felt by this point I was getting more confident in 3D and feeling like, no, this is the work I want to do really. So that's when I left and went freelance in 2013. And then, this is an old I Love Dust piece as well. So at this point, it was still kind of, it doesn't look as 3D as the stuff I do now. It's kind of like using 3D to kind of, and using a lot of Photoshop as well. So kind of mixing the two. But I still quite like these looking back on them.
So I've got a couple of questions, if I might. Sure. One is, Stuart's asking, have we ever seen any of your work on TV?
I did a Bulmers campaign a few years back. I'm trying to think, and some McDonald's. I'm not sure about in this country. Bulmers stuff is probably closest. I don't know. I didn't really like that, what I did for that, but
I think we've all had jobs like that where we're just yeah.
Let me find it. Hang on a minute.
And also, how do you cope with the rendering? How do you go on with rendering? Do you?
I use Redshift now,
right?
Which is something I only started using this year. Again, I've been like so busy with work for the past 5 years really that I've never had a chance to learn new stuff, especially like the render engine. Well, I was always using V-Ray before, but it's so slow compared to the new GPU renders like Redshift and Octane and stuff. So I've switched to PC two years ago. In the beginning of this year, I started learning Redshift, and it's just like completely transformed my workflow. It's just sped it up massively. That means I can kind of just really push my work a lot more. So yeah, that's how I cope with rendering these days is using Redshift pretty much. Because also I used to depend on render farms so much using V-Ray, whereas I haven't used a render farm this year at all because I've been able to do it all on my PC.
Right. So that's nice. It's all completely under your control, and you're not waiting for a service to deliver. Although there are advantages in that, of course.
Definitely.
Yeah.
Oh yeah. I mean, that's also because I haven't really done any animation over 15 seconds long. So this but it's been super helpful that I haven't had to do that. Yeah, so, but I kind of am waiting. I think Octane you can use on Mac now. I'm waiting for Redshift to be able to be used on Mac. That's the only drawback with it, because like I mentioned earlier, it's that I still use Mac for anything that isn't Cinema 4D, because I just can't hack using Windows at all. It's just so infuriating. Yeah.
What kind of spec machine do you choose for rendering? So for your Windows based
My
machines?
Windows, it's got. Okay. I'm so like, that's one thing when I knew I had to switch to PC, and then I had to learn about all the spec. That's the beauty of Mac. You just don't have to think. Just be like, make it. I just buy the most powerful one. Whereas I had to look into like CUDA cores and everything and learn this whole new language about building a PC. So I think, if I can remember correctly, I think I have 3 NVIDIA RTX 2080 graphics cards in it. It's 128 megabytes of RAM. I'm not sure. Oh no, it might be 64 gigabytes of RAM and an i9. I think Intel i9. I think that's what it is. Yeah, yeah.
You really do have to learn about that sort of stuff when you're building things for rendering. It's it's just
you really do. And I see enough like my contemporaries on like social media stuff doing like stories about them cleaning their machines and stuff, and I have not. Probably should do that because it's 2 years old, like take it apart and give it a clean, but I'm pretty scared to do that, to have a look inside and take it apart and clean it and things. So yeah, that's what I've always loved about Macs. They're just really dependable.
But it's what people get. That's the thing. It's what they're comfortable with working with.
Yeah, exactly. And I wouldn't,
absolutely,
especially, it's,
really. I think. Go on. Sorry.
No, I just think, just the GPU renderers are just great, like so good. Although,
I was going to say the paper-like texture that you've got on there is going down well as well. They're really enjoying that. So, is there anything you can share on that? How you achieve that lovely paper-like texture with your work?
So this is, I always had, like when I was doing a lot more photoshopping as well, I just have a library of kind of paper textures, and I'd kind of scan in old bits of paper and things, or just from when I worked in studios, everyone would kind of share things. So I ended up with a library, a texture library basically, for like overlaying and things, and just messing around with stuff, which I just don't do anymore, but it was always really fun playing around with Photoshop with textures and stuff.
Yes.
Yeah. So that's, again, these are just super simple kind of overlays, really. Just kind of
effective though, simple but effective. It's
yeah. I think I just desaturated and like crushed the levels down and probably like screened them on a multiply kind of blending mode. That's all it would have been in these. And then this was another kind of Photoshop heavy one as well, an early one. I do quite a lot of neon type stuff, which is different for the rest of my portfolio. So I don't share it as much because I always find it sticks out amongst my other work. But I've always liked this one because this was the first piece I did with neon type, really. It's just, I don't know, I just like the warmth of it because it used quite a lot of Photoshop. So this is an old favourite.
Lovely. Robert's asking, do you illustrate absolutely everything that everybody's looking at? Do you bring in anything? I mean, apart from the things in Cinema 4D, is everything built completely from ground up, scratch?
Yeah, I don't really like to use. I don't think any of the work I'll be showing you today. I've built everything myself. I always prefer to build everything. I think there's one thing in my next. Certain things, if you want them to look exactly like they are in real life, sometimes, then I'm just like this. I'll just get a stock model. There's no point if it's needed for the project. But if it doesn't have to look like something in real life, I'd rather always model it myself. I think just so it it looks like my work really. That's
Cool.
what I try to do.
Sorry.
Yeah, so this is some like kind of more up-to-date work. So this one here, I modeled everything apart from the Statue of Liberty. So this was a book cover for it was like a teen fiction novel. It was for HarperCollins in New York. So this is all built in Cinema 4D. Again, I would have done the kind of sketch layout for this in Illustrator. That was a fun one, and that was good to like combine neon type and 3D stuff as well. Or my more fun 3D stuff. What else?
Lovely colour, great colour.
Thank you. Yeah, there's always, I like brightly coloured stuff pretty much. You can see this was a great one for just kind of rewatching Moonrise Kingdom. Like pretty much Wes Anderson is always kind of what got me into being creative.
Right.
So I'm always like, I just love his work so much, especially like his animations. So this was a great one for kind of channeling him. This is for the Boy Scouts of America for their magazine. So all these ones now are just kind of some favourite 3D work really over the years, more recent ones. Some more typed work as well. This was for Esquire magazine.
Yeah.
This was quite an old one. And so this is a bit of a, so I'll just show you the finished bit first. So this was this was a magazine cover for Norwegian Airlines in-flight magazine. It's all about like Swedish producers in music. So it was in pop music. So it was all about like doing like a Swedish themed music contraption basically. So this is like a really short animation of kind of my process, how I'd go about building it in Cinema 4D from like these basic blocks up.
Do you
like finished piece? Personally,
when you get to that sort of ambient occlusion pass that's halfway through before any of the I kind of love looking at that, because to me it looks like folded paperwork. Do you know what I mean?
I'm always fascinated. Yeah, just a simple clay render sometimes can look really, really lovely. Yeah.
And just in case the audience don't know what that is, ambient occlusion, by the way, is the way that. Well, actually, Thomas, do you want to explain ambient occlusion, or
No, because I don't technically.
So
I couldn't actually explain.
Also, people also call it different things, but it's what it is. In old 3D, you used to have very, very harsh shadows. But what ambient occlusion does is it allows the light that would bounce around and reflect in the environment to change the nature of the shadows. And it's what you're seeing just before the color appears in that. Sorry, I didn't mean to hijack that, Thomas, but it's just something I love looking at.
I could not have explained it that well. I'm not actually technical. I'm not sure what the technical definition of ambient. Yeah, it's too technical for me. Thanks for informing me. I didn't know.
I'm so sorry.
You just revealed my ignorance. So you've done there.
It looks like we're also being drawn to Thomas as well. It's last week there was some drawing going on here, and it looks like somebody's done a drawing of you. So we'll perhaps check that out later on. Yes, apparently so. Anyway, there we are.
This is for the same project. This is like the inside the editorial company, the article inside the magazine. So this is like more of the same contraption. And this is another magazine cover for Norwegian Airlines as well. This one was all about there's a pinball machine in Budapest apparently, which was what the feature article was about. So this was a great one to build a Budapest themed pinball machine. That was super fun. This is basically a lot of my early work, like all my favorite projects came from the same art director.
Right.
At Norwegian Airlines magazine. So this was another one from Norwegian Airlines magazine about like I can't even remember what this article was about actually. But it was another fun one. He just pretty much all my favorite work has always come from editorial briefs, because they're always like super snappy, quick. You've got a lot of freedom. There's not too much kind of back and forth with the art directors, whereas in advertising, there's a lot of, a lot of projects that just kind of
get input from the account team, and then they get everything else involved in it, and it becomes can become a little bit of a soup.
Designed by committee, and they kind of feed back on stuff before it's finished or in any way, and then you have to make these changes that don't make it look as good.
I think most of us have been there as well.
Yeah. Whereas I think there's this, I think the client has such a weight to, in advertising it's all about just pleasing the client and doing exactly what they want, whereas so the art directors don't have as much freedom as opposed to like editorial. The art directors, like their say is just do this, and they give you a lot more freedom. And then
it's going down very well here. I mean, I've seen the word cool pop up in front of my right eye so many different times in the last few seconds. Cool. I love these. So vibrant, says Keith. Great, says Richard Bell. Great work. Love the sketches. Oh, that's something else. That's the sketch of me and you. There is one. I've just checked it out. It's very good. Great subjects. Cool. Fantastic. So there you are.
Excellent. So
we're great subjects, apparently.
We're great subjects. All right. All right. That's good. No, these are some style frames. These are for a PlayStation general knowledge game.
Oh wow! Yeah. I love that.
So these were style frames for game design, and that was another really fun project. It's called Knowledge is Power, the game. So these are just style frames, and the game company kind of rebuilt everything in whatever program it is that you make games in. I'm not sure.
I love things like that. There's a bit of Gilliam in there as well, I think.
Yeah, I mean that one was a lot of actually the 60s illustrator lady Mary designed It's a Small World in Disneyland and stuff.
Oh yeah.
Completely.
No, Tim, who is the holder of all the world's knowledge. I bet Tim knows. Who he'll probably pop it in the chat for us.
All right.
So there was your challenge, Tim, for today. Find us who designed Small World.
Oh, my head's saying Mary Berry. It's definitely not Mary Berry.
No, that's Kate. Definitely.
Yeah, exactly.
I know about cake.
No. Yeah.
Mary Blair.
Mary Blair, that's it. Yeah.
Tim, are you actually? I think Tim's actually. So Tim is our behind the scenes guy. For those of you that are new here, and Tim never ceases to amaze us and the guests with. I think he's actually powered by Wikipedia. I think he's actually got some of Wikipedia built into him because he just comes up with things so quickly. He's very good. He's a bot.
I should know who Mary Blair is anyway. I was just her name completely.
Yeah, but there's so much going on. It's
Yeah. I'll just run through some animation as well. Actually, I've done.
Sure.
Recently, we got. It's gone pretty quickly. Actually, we realised at the time. Yeah. So this was like a latest piece. I'm actually working on an online kind of course with Domestica at the moment. So this is like the course I'll be teaching. It's creating this illustration. So I've been playing around a lot more recently with like inflatables and building it all in Cinema 4D and trying to do more animation as well, which I never really got into before.
Well, you've got some good stuff going on there. I mean, you're holding on to the principles. You've got some squash and stretch going on in there. I think you've got.
So this is all the kind of animation he was done with mesh deformers and kind of like post morph tags in Cinema 4D. These and then like cloth tags on the little carton in there. This is like this is I modelled my own house at the beginning of the lockdown. It was just a little personal piece.
That's fantastic.
We have a party at home on my own, like stay home alone piece. And what's this one? I just kind of grabbed loads of stuff this morning to go through. So this was for last year. I did loads of stuff for a music festival that never happened in the end in Las Vegas. It was a music and gaming festival.
Right.
And so I spent like 3 months on this, and then the festival got cancelled in the end. So it never saw the light of day, but it was a really cool project, and I did get paid for it, so that was fine. But I just never actually got to see it. Again, this is kind of the extent of my animation at the moment. It's still something I haven't really got into properly.
Well, it's impressing people, so people are loving it. So, and for those of you, by the way, who have been watching this on YouTube, you don't know what you're missing out on with the chat. So next time you pop along, and we are here every day between 12 and 1, you might consider joining via behance.net/live, where you can become a more integrated part of the community, join in with the chat, and ask questions of our guests every day.
Yeah, and oh, this was the last piece I thought I'd go through. A more recent piece is how I sketched this out on Illustrator as well. So this is, I did this at the beginning of the year. It was a book cover for Random House in New York. There's another kids book, this one. I'm not entirely sure what the book was about. It's like a kind of a little gang of friends, basically, in the lower years of high school, I think. So it was all about the things they got up to, and they wanted all these things that are mentioned in the book, referenced in the cover. So this was just a really, really fun, recent job that kind of, I got to hark back to my earlier work with this one as well. But just do it in a it's kind of rendered cleaner these days, because I've started using Redshift. So to me, this is kind of like what I'd always wanted to do with my earlier work. So this is fun.
Have you ever, may I ask, have you ever looked at the, you probably wouldn't use this very often, but have you ever looked at the Cineware extension for Illustrator, so you can actually work, you can integrate your 3D models made in Cinema 4D directly into Illustrator? Have you seen that? Or
no, I haven't actually. No, it's like I said, like my actual Illustrator and Photoshop skills have just got worse over the years, because I just haven't kept up with any developments. So everything, my knowledge of them is still pretty simple. No, I had no idea about that. Oh, right.
Yeah, no, it's a really nice extension.
Really cool.
It's free extension. And those of you, don't forget, in the community here who are maybe going to try out Cinema 4D Lite, or your access to that via After Effects, you can still save out the models, and you might try doing that and explore the Cineware plugin, bring that stuff in. Yeah, there you are. There's your homework, Thomas. Thanks.
Thanks for the information. Yeah, because that's one thing as well. I really kind of fallen behind in, or not, like anything that isn't Cinema 4D.
Oh, but it's easy to do when you're busy, right? Really easy
to
do.
Well, yeah, exactly. That's why, it's the one good thing that has come out of this whole lockdown recently, is that having more free time to learn new stuff. I think everyone in the creative industry,
it's a challenge for everybody, I think.
Hopefully that's the one bonus of this, is we can actually learn new stuff. But yeah, and this is why I'm trying to learn Houdini at the moment. That's pretty slow going. That's a whole new world.
I've not actually used that one personally, but yeah,
I think it seems to be the future for especially like effects, especially in 3D, but it's just a lot more complex. But yeah, so this is like that book cover, how I sketched out in Illustrator. Again, things like this here, these are always just huge kind of really rough placeholders in my sketches, so I'm going to redo them anyway in Cinema 4D. But the rest is just really simple type layout. So this would be the sketch I send over to the client, and then this is the final piece here. So that's kind of the very basic overview of my process. Yeah, but that's all my work. If anyone else has any questions?
Fantastic. Let's just see if we've got any other questions hanging around there. I mean, I think we've got Jackie asking about how Cinema 4D differs from Dimension or anything else I've seen over the last few months. I think, well, Dimension isn't really a modeler as such yet. I'd say that was the main difference. Have you ever played with Dimension, Adobe Dimension?
No, I've never even heard of it.
Yeah, so all right. Well, there's a tool from Adobe, really kind of aimed more towards designers who are, let's say, 3D curious just at the moment, or need to produce rapid visualizations of products. So it's got models that you can use, sort of vanilla models from Adobe stock, and you can bring in OBJs and a couple of other formats as well, a few other formats, and then basically light them, and it's got a few things. So check that. It's interesting, but it's not really a modeler, so you wouldn't work in the same way at the current time as you would with that. But yeah, what else have we got? We've got lots of people intrigued and interested in what's going on, which is great. They love your 2D sketch as much in many ways as your 3D rendering. Well, it's amazing to see that come to life with all that inflation. There, so it's hard to catch up with. It's coming in very quickly. Where else might we look at your work, Thomas? Where else might we see? So aside from Behance, where would you direct
Instagram? My website is wearegrownup.com.
Yep.
Which I need to update desperately, because I have to admit I'm a lot better at putting work onto Instagram rather than my own website. So yeah, my Instagram handle is Thomas Burden. That's what I use the most, really. But this is my actual website. Oh, there's one I just remembered. I did forget one project that I forgot to go through. That was my favourite project ever, actually.
Oh well, okay.
This was a picture book pitch for HarperCollins in New York. Asked me to pitch a picture book. But it didn't get past the sales and marketing team again, so I haven't really done much more with it, even though I want to kind of keep building. So designed this little character and her cat and this world that she inhabits, really. So it's just like my first character design project, really, which is something I've wanted to do for ages. So that was just really fun. And just all her little poses. And then I did a few spreads as well, her little house.
I wonder if you ever got the chance, if you could explore maybe rendering some of those component parts out and bringing them into Character Animator and have you seen Character Animator?
No, that's again,
but it's working out well for both of us. So you could perhaps anyway explore it, have a quick look at it, Character Animator, because if you could make the component parts, one of the difficulties people have working in 2D, of course, is they've got to kind of do different renderings, manual renderings of things, different angles. But your character work there, you could maybe have a look at it. I love this. This is very much like my own TARDIS.
Because at this point, because this, her poses were all just done with vendor formers back then, whereas that's another thing I've been getting into recently is like character rigging, because also it has, that's the one good thing, as software develops and things get easier, so character rigging nowadays is a lot easier than it was when I did this like about 4 years ago. So that's another thing I've started teaching myself as well. Because this was also, it's just good as well. The way I built this is not very conducive to character rigging. But this was all still probably my favourite work today. All these characters in there.
So have you've built a story around this, right? You've built a story already around this, or is it just really ideas?
It was kind of like. Yeah, I was going to get they were going to find like I was basically going to make this world, and they were going to get somebody to write it. But then the sales and marketing team decided they didn't like my illustrations, so that was it. I was like, oh, fine.
Well, there have been many things that have been turned down by publishers. That a couple that I can think of that have done very, very well. So I just say keep knocking on doors. Exactly. We need to do more with it and develop it into like a fuller world, really. I think that's one thing I did learn from this, is just rather than sending out something
that was a bit unfinished,
Mm.
but, just send them something that's completely finished and a finished like product. Rather
Do you
than kind of, yeah.
do you find that difficult? Do you find that at the point where you do present your work to your client, do you find that particular stage where you're not going to go right over into the full-blown work with all of the post and everything, post-production work and everything on it, but do you find that challenging to know exactly where to hold off on your investment in time up to that point? Do you find that bit, or do you just sort of instinctively know, no, this is ready, they'll get it from there? Or
Yeah, no, I think I'm pretty bad at that, to be honest.
Okay.
It's sending over stuff, when it's not quite finished. Or it depends. Like, it depends on deadlines, really. Sometimes you just have to send over stuff. I mean, that's one good thing about working the way I do is I'm never actually sending this over to the client. It's always sending over to an agency. So I know that what I'm telling them, they can visualize, if something's not finished. I'm never actually sending it over to a client directly.
Right.
And even then, the agency is then talking to like the marketing department at a brand or whatever. So I'm never talking to somebody that's just like, oh, no, start again. I don't like that color or whatever. Or just,
Right.
Everyone's always reasonable that I've dealt with so far. I've been quite lucky on that.
Cool.
So, yeah.
I'll just have a quick scan for any last minute questions. We've got just like 2 or 3 minutes left. If you've got anything else you want to drop in now, I'll just have a quick look. Then go ahead.
I'll just have a look through my. Seeing if I missed any of it. It's just on my website.
Well, I think they'll be investigating that definitely. So
yeah, there's a lot of old work on here. I mean, this is one thing I really need to update. But yeah, my Instagram, Thomas Bergen, that's probably the best.
Fantastic. There we go. Brilliant. And perhaps Tim would be kind enough to post that link. I think he's posted in the website, and the Instagram link would be just fantastic. Well, it's been really lovely having you along for and joining us today. Thank you so much, Thomas. Hope you've enjoyed your hour, and I know that earlier on you weren't feeling particularly great. You're having so
no, it's the worst time to get a migraine, but
so I hope you
migraine pills and feeling
yes
better.
I hope you feel better later on.
And
so to our community, thank you, or from our community, thank you very much to Thomas. Don't forget, everybody, we're here every day, every lunchtime here in the UK from 12 till 1 on behance.net/live. And beyond this, we can actually carry on the conversation on our very own Discord, which Tim will pop into the chat, and in fact has done it just as I blinks. Then amazing. It's incredible. I think he actually is a bot. But for now, I think that's goodbye from all of us. And thanks for joining. And we will see you tomorrow. Thanks, Thomas.
Thanks for having me. It's been great. Cheers.
Take care. Bye.
Bye.